In today's video we are looking to see what the RX 6650 XT can do in Starfield. Now we're going to test 1080p low, 1080p medium and 1080p high. I've chosen New Atlantis, which is one of the first landings that you have in the game and quite early on in the game, so you obviously don't have too much of the story revealed. So basically in this video I'm just going to walk around New Atlantis everywhere, and then we're just going to sort of talk about the benchmarks and the results. Now, just before we get into those benchmarks, the Ryzen 3 3100 is holding us back a little bit here, but overall we are still getting quite decent average FPS here, so it's not too bad. So, first of all, 1080p low, an average of 44, a minimum of 36 and a maximum of 49. So at 1080p low, this is pretty decent. I mean, average 44 is a little bit low. I mean, you really at 1080p, you really expecting the RX 6650 XT to do a little bit better here and get towards the 60 FPS really, but it just shows you how demanding Starfield is, unfortunately. Now, I think if you had a slightly better CPU, maybe the Ryzen 5 5600, which I'm thinking of getting soon, I think you could certainly push this up into the 50s and high 50s, but at the moment we're just going to have to do with the Ryzen 3 3100. And also for those who have got a slightly slower CPU or a slightly older CPU, you could maybe see how the 6650 XT kind of works with a slightly slower CPU to see whether it would be worth it for you. Really here, I've shown in the settings, I would certainly enable FSR, but for these results I haven't enabled FSR, and with FSR enabled you will get better results. Now the 1080p medium results was an average of 43, a minimum of 38 and a maximum of 47, so basically the same as the 1080p low, so I don't really know what's happening there. This is also the same with 1080p high as well, which is pretty much the same. So yeah, the 1080p medium, like I say, is pretty much the same as 1080p low here. It's okay performance, and there are some times where it does jump up a little bit, but this is a very, very demanding part of the game, and when there's lots of characters and obviously there's a lot happening in this scene, so this is probably going to be one of the most demanding areas. I will show you a couple of other clips that I've taken which have reached higher levels than that, into the sort of 70s or even 60s frame per second. So this is probably like the worst case scenario in terms of the performance that you're going to see. Now, finally moving on to the 1080p high performance, which was pretty much the same as the medium and the low. The average is 42, minimum of 36 and a maximum of 48. So again, like 1 FPS below our average of 1080p medium and only 2 below the 1080p low. So I don't exactly know what's happening here. There's obviously the textures and stuff aren't really changing whether you have it on low, medium, high, it seems. But again, I would certainly go FSR with this title, even if you're running a good graphics card like the RX 6650 XT. So I think overall this is just to kind of give you a bit of a guide, this video, of what it's like to run Starfield on the RX 6650 XT. Just a bit of a little video here just to kind of give you something for this week. There is a lot more videos I've got planned. We will have a full review of the RX 6650 XT once I can get a better CPU. Like I said, the Ryzen 5 5600 is what I'm aiming for, and we'll get we'll get an actual review together. We'll go through Starfield, The Last of Us, plus a load of other games as well. How good this graphics card actually really is, because it is a very good high performing card. It's just unfortunately there's so many unoptimized and very demanding games which have just been released, and obviously Starfield is the biggest one of those. And it's unfortunate that something, you know, as a graphics card as good as this one, especially considering as it's about £200 or just over, doesn't even get you 60 FPS in a modern game at 1080p low, which, well, without putting FSR on anyway. So it is a bit disappointing, but overall it is what it is. Starfield, unfortunately, is extremely demanding, and like I say, this is a worst case scenario in this area. This is the worst performance you're going to see. When you're in more enclosed areas and smaller areas, you're going to see at least 60 or even 70, 75 FPS average, which I saw quite regularly. So this is a worst case scenario, but just to give you an idea of what Starfield performs at, like I said, with the RX 6650 XT. If you like this video, please drop us a a like. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and leave us a comment on what you think of Starfield, and are you enjoying it, or are you not really happy with the performance and you're not really happy with your purchase. Let me know. Hope you like this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.